bum 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 bum. And I thought, play that backwards, put something to it, and you've got bum 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 bum.
Hi everyone. Continuing this special weekend, focusing on Deep Purple, which got off to a great start yesterday, and I discovered a new favorite. Well, today turns out, I see on the screen in front of me, I'm going to be listening to Smoke on the Water. I recognize that title because so many of you all along this journey have said that that is a must listen, and seems like tonight's the night. So I have to say, I kind of have hopes of discovering another favorite. I don't know if I will. I'm not going to let that get in the way of my experience and enjoyment of the piece, whether or not it becomes a favorite. But I'm beginning to, I don't know, maybe have some expectations of enjoyment when I hear the name Deep Purple coming up. So let's see what I have to read and then we'll listen. Smoke on the Water was released on Deep Purple's 1972 studio album, Machine Head. I guess that's the same one that... Okay, we're still in the same album. The song's lyrics are based on true events, chronicling the 1971 fire at Montreux Casino in Montreux, Switzerland. Oh. On the eve of the recording session, a concert with Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention was held in the Montreux Casino's theater. Okay, so I take it the Mothers of Invention must be a band.
Come on, it's Frank Zappa, right?
Frank Zappa, right? I'm putting the pieces together here. So I guess Deep Purple wasn't performing with Frank Zappa, but apparently it was the same era. Okay.
They were there.
Yeah, I know. I'm just realizing how concurrent the two bands were. This was the theater's final concert before the casino complex closed down for its annual winter renovations, which would allow Deep Purple to record there. During the concert, the place suddenly caught fire when somebody in the audience fired a flare gun towards the rattan-covered ceiling, as mentioned in the Some Stupid with a Flare Gun. Although there were no major injuries, the resulting fire destroyed the entire casino complex along with all the Mothers' equipment. Mothers of Invention, right. The smoke on the water that became the title of the song referred to the smoke from the fire spreading over Lake Geneva from the burning casino as the members of Deep Purple watched from their hotel. Oof. Smoke on the Water is considered the band's signature song, and its guitar riff is considered to be one of the most iconic in rock history. In 2004, Rolling Stone magazine placed Smoke on the Water number 434 on its list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. Total Guitar magazine ranked the song's riff number 4 on its greatest guitar riffs ever list. Sounds more iconic. And in March 2005, Q magazine placed it at number 12 in its list of the 100 greatest guitar tracks. In 2017, the song was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. All right, let's listen. Ooh, I like that rhythm. this smoke on the water. It reminds me of something, but what is it? Smoke on the water. There's something in the melody of that. Da 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 da. Oh, I'm afraid I won't be able to make the connection. It's there somewhere, but I can't quite place it. Well, since I stopped anyway, I really like the way they set up the opening of this piece. It's not just the guitar riff. It is how each one of the instruments contributes to the rhythmic texture, the rhythmic feel. And while there are plenty of songs that take one instrument at a time and bring it into the mix and start layering, this one somehow feels like it's just perfectly balanced. Okay, I am at 3:45. I'm going to back up and let's hear that intro again before we go further in, because I want to show you what I'm noticing. So this is the guitar riff, and I commented how I like the rhythm of it. It's just slightly cut short, isn't it? Dum, bum, 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 dee-dum, bum. And you start to expect bum 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 dee-dum, and then you feel like, okay, should it either be bum 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 dee-dum, bum 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 bum. That's very square, but there are a couple places where it's just shortened a bit. Bum 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 dee-dum. And then you have to wait, so you can't quite even it out. Bum 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 bum. Oh, what are you laughing about, Vlad?
You'll see.
Okay. And so that, and if you're not really paying attention, and maybe you're not used to counting rhythms like I am, you might not really register what's happening until other things start coming in, and then it becomes more accentuated. The first thing we hear, a little bit of and now this comes in and really, and you start to feel how the guitar doesn't exactly line up with, and so that's your first bit of added interest, shall we say. Bum, 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 bum. And now with that bum, you feel even more strongly that the guitar doesn't line up squarely with the other parts. Well, it all has to do with how long each note is being held and whether a beat is being cut off early, or actually it's a form of syncopation because the rhythmic shape itself hasn't been shortened, but the guitar is kind of giving like a beat and a fraction of a beat rather than all parts of each beat in the bar. And here comes and suddenly, oh wow, we have so much going on. It's not just the rhythm. It's the spread of pitches. We have bum 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 way down here. I'm going to say rather organ-like, kind of like an organ pedal, only with a bit of pulse to it. Bum 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 bum. And then of course the horn like dee 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 dee, and then of course up a bit higher pitch. Actually, it's the percussion that is the highest pitch in this field that we're looking at. Get to enjoy that for a moment. And of course, here comes the chorus. Right. So I just feel like each one of those instruments comes in at just the right moment with just the right balancing element, rhythm, pitch, all of that. So that by the time the voice comes in, even though it's really only 3 instruments, we have the guitar, we have the drums, and we have the bass. That's it. It really feels almost like a full orchestra there, and with enough activity to be orchestra worthy. And so it gives this incredibly rich tapestry over which the voice lines out its melody. And now you hear the guitar is not doing the riff there, but it's still playing with this rhythm. What is it about that? I can't remember. Okay, I laughed at this line. Swiss time was running out. Swiss watches, come on, Swiss time. This is such a great little, should we say, gallows humor? Okay. Nice solo. But I'm actually not going to talk about the guitar so much here, even though it's a guitar solo. I noticed something with the drums, which stands out to me. I don't know how often I've heard this, but it was really obvious this time as it's kind of the reverse of what usually happens. I'm able to really identify this because way back when I was doing the discussions with Carl Sloman, I don't remember if it was on camera or if it was some discussion we had between different sessions, but I remember he once told me that we were talking about rhythm and the place of the drums and so forth. And he talked about how he was talking some drum terminology and explaining some of the different terms that drummers use, such as halftime, meaning beating at half. Okay, let me try to explain this. So let's say you're beating 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he says, oftentimes when the guitar solo comes in, the drummer falls into halftime, beating 1 at 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. So the same tempo, but only half the number of strikes to allow the guitar or the soloist, whatever it is, more room to be flexible and really take center stage. So I noticed this when it came in, and I was also able to immediately identify what it was that I was noticing because of that discussion I remember from way back when we were doing that. And that is that this is the opposite. Listen to what's happening in the main verse part. One. That's our beat. Rather spaced out. Bump. 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 That's primarily what the drummer is doing, right? Bump. 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 Here comes the guitar solo somewhere here. Bump. 1, 2, 3, 4. Suddenly, the beat is twice as fast as it was. Bump, not bump, but 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So, if you're going to call the standard approach halftime, I guess you could call this double time. I don't know if drummers actually do that, but whatever they call it, that's what's happening. And that really jumped out at me simply because it's one of those moments where you realize, they completely flipped it on its head. He broke the mold. He did something which isn't super common. I won't say it's never done, but I've heard enough rock music to know that it's not terribly common to double the pace of your beats, of your prominent beats, when it's the guitar soloist's turn. But what it does is it really helps to get a little bit of motion and drive going, because this is certainly, especially the smoke on the water, is kind of a brooding, slow pace, and you really string it out and pull it out, and that's why he's only placing 1, 2, 1, and then when the guitar solo comes in, bong, 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 it kind of helps to change the feel of it enough, give a bit of variety and contrast. But I love the way it's just basically the pattern flipped on its head. Nice. Is that percussion or is that... I guess it must be part of the drum. Sounds almost like someone sharpening a knife, huh? Very nice. Really a different feel, a different mood, a completely different effect than the one I did yesterday. That is something that I also appreciate about what I've heard from Deep Purple. If I think back to Child in Time, and then I don't know why, but all I can think of is I'm in love with my car. That's not the title of yesterday's song. Highway Star. Thank you, thank you. It's the variety. It's the fact that each one of these songs, Child in Time, Highway Star, Smoke on the Water, each one of them has its very own, I'm going to say voice, its very own personality, its very own character. In other words, they are able to create music which is not simply a rehash or but bands don't even do just a rehash, but sometimes a band has a particular sound or a particular style that is pretty consistent one song to another. Yes, Deep Purple clearly has the Deep Purple sound, the Deep Purple style, but each one of these songs, a different pace, a different feel, a different mood. Each one is its own world unto itself. And as a musician, I really appreciate that because it means that they have a lot to say and they have a really great amount of variety in their artistic, creative output. And that makes me feel, again, say the same thing again, that I appreciate the musicianship and the quality of what I hear when I listen to Deep Purple's music. I really do. With this Smoke on the Water piece of music, okay. First of all, it's a completely different topic and treatment of the topic than I imagined from the title, from all of your discussions about it. Somehow, I just put Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water together and created this sort of smoky, hazy image of what it was going to be. So now I get to hear it. I heard it, and of course, it's entirely different than that. But it's great. Okay, the lyrics are kind of irrelevant, aren't they? Meaning, it's a story of what happened. It's a telling of one of their experiences on, in their professional career as a band, and they do a nice job telling it. I'm listening to the music, and yeah, it's a great riff. It has just the right amount of grit, of energy, and that great little kind of wacky, off balance, chopped off bit, which throws us just enough to keep us coming back to listen and find our place again. And it's simple as well. It's not something that we get lost in, and yet we have to really work to keep our bearings if we're going to manage to, well, try playing it. Of course, I'm sure many of you have, right? If it's the most iconic guitar riff ever, I'm sure probably most guitarists have tried playing it. How how easy is it for you to really be spot on with the timing? Well, probably you've heard it a million times more than I have. And once you've heard something a million times over, then you can do it by feel. But imagine having heard that just once. Imagine that you're not a professional musician with a lot of musical training, rhythmic counting and stuff. Just imagine, let's take it differently. Let's say you have an 8-year-old who's just heard it for the first time, and he's got his little guitar and he wants to try it out. How precise do you think he's going to be with that rhythm? My point is, there is a lot of precision required in this piece. And that is one of the things that gives it that really great tension and richness, complexity, with just those few instruments. It truly feels orchestral. My favorite part of it is that little refrain, which I cannot place where I've heard the melody. But somehow when it says, smoke on the water, I'm going to say I must be remembering perhaps some traditional spiritual tune, perhaps, Negro spiritual. Da 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 da. As I'm placing it in my memory, I'm going to say that's probably where I've heard something similar, which of course makes sense. But it's such a picturesque, and it's a world unto itself. I'm talking about how each song is a world unto itself. This line, smoke on the water, it's such a world unto itself. And I could almost imagine just that. Which is interesting because that's not the riff at all. But each element of this piece, or there are several elements of this piece, are so powerful on their own. That line, the riff, the significance of the drum beat pattern, it's great. So there we have another wonderful Deep Purple piece of music. It's been a really fun weekend for me, incredibly rewarding, exciting too, and I'm looking forward to another Deep Purple exploration in the future. I'm sure it will come because obviously I like the band. So there we have it. I'll see you soon.